What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start this show by being transparent. And yesterday, it was a good day. 1-0. I had the Pistons minus the three. Got there. I think they won by 10 points, something like that. So, nice 1-0 day yesterday. And I have to make a correction because I must have somewhere down the line, I've been doing a lot lately. I must have added an extra loss on my record because when I went back and looked, it says I only have 9 losses. So that will put me at 18-9. 18-9 will be my record right now, Rob Veno. And yesterday, I honestly cannot remember. This is the one time I can't remember what your play was, but hopefully you had at least a 1-0 day or better as well.
I had one of those good day, bad day scenarios. Skee, I had my first 5% of the year yesterday. I haven't had one all season long. Season started in October. Played the Cleveland team total over 106.5. Did not get there. Ended up with a 3-1 day because the second game I had 3 winners. Had the OKC team total over, had the full game over. And I had a prop play in that game, Skee. Just had a feeling that Marcus Smart's number was too low. It was PRA was 18.5. He got to 23. So we win money on the day, 3-1 record, but the 5% did not get there. So it's when those things happen, it's kind of a weird feeling like, yeah, I won, but I'd have rather won the other game, but still making money is making money. So we'll take it. By the way, I'll do that quick. 18-9 is what you gave me. 31-18 on my side is 49-27. 49-27. It's probably in that range of, let's see, 49 divided by 76 is, yeah, I mean, we're 64.5%.
Here we go.
Through almost 2 full weeks. Pretty good.
Yeah, if we can keep this up, maybe I go back to Hawaii, Rob. What you think?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we got two NBA games. And we have 3 WNBA games starting. I mean, with the league starting today or the season starting today. So let's get to it. Some good stuff here. Knicks and 76ers. That's where we'll start. And get back to my odds screen for the men. Opened up with New York as a small favorite. It flipped to Philly as a small favorite. The total slightly down from 214 to 213.5, nothing major. Injury report, and let's refresh this actually. We have both Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson probable, and Anobi is questionable, and then you have Embiid questionable as well. I mean, what that and Anobi has a hamstring injury, right? They're saying they're calling it very, very minor, saying he's day to day. But we know how hamstring injuries are. I mean, minor or not, I wouldn't expect him to be at 100% in the next game, even if he does play. Knicks up 2-0. Sixers going back home. Sixers did cover last game. I mean, they just had a really cold fourth quarter. What do you think, Vino? Can the Sixers get one returning here at the house?
Yeah, I wouldn't even expect Anunoby to play in this game, honestly. You're ahead 2-0. Why push it if it's a hamstring? Whether it's minor or not, there's really no reason to push it for this particular game. He's been great offensively for New York, but some of the stuff I read this morning, Skee, seems to paint kind of a black sky doomsday picture for the Knicks offense because Anunoby all of a sudden has been really good, and without him, they can't be any good. I'm not so sure that's the case. They went on the road to Atlanta. In every game, they played really good offense, and they played really good offense with the exception of the fourth quarter of last game. You talked about Philly not having a good fourth quarter. Neither did the Knicks. They scored 19 points. That game was a dead over the whole way, and a 31-point fourth quarter stopped it. So I'm almost inclined to look at this thing from a bunch of ways. Philadelphia, I think, we weren't breaking any earth-shattering news last time we covered this game when we said without Embiid, Philly would pick up the pace, and they did. We know they're going to push pace tonight. It worked for 3.5 quarters. It worked really well for them. I think it probably works again at home tonight. I could look at their team total, 107.5, as a potential play. I could look at the full game total um, as a potential play. Maybe you don't want to exclude the Knicks offense. And sidewise, I guess if you were going to play, you play the desperate team, which is Philadelphia here. And they did win with this lineup one time against Boston. But the funny thing is when they came home to Philly in that Boston series, they got beat both games, lost by 8 and then lost by like 32 at home. So that makes me a little leery of side, but I think one of those two total plays, either Philadelphia's team total or just the full game total here, is probably the way I would look.
Sounds like you don't think Embiid is going to play.
Word around here is that he probably won't.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, it's funny, Skee, because listening in this area, and I know it's a last thing you saw, but people, fan base, media, etc., are to the point where they almost think that the team is better without Embiid at this point. Now, I don't know that you would say they were better, but I might almost say that in this matchup, if you're going to push pace against the Knicks, that's probably a good way to go. Knicks aren't that great at getting back on defense. And so if you want to go with a faster lineup without Joel Embiid, I could buy that. I don't know that it's a better team without him. The Celtics series proves otherwise, but maybe this matchup just is better going fast.
Yeah. I mean, from a side perspective, if I like the Sixers, which I do, I don't really care. I'm with Jay. If he don't play, I'm okay with that. I'm just thinking about from a total perspective. You know, if Embiid's going to play, if he does play, he should slow the pace down, right? We know he scores more and his defense. Maybe it just works out either way because when Embiid is
Yeah.
out there, they're attacking him. So it's a lot of ways you can get to some points in this game as long as they don't have an ice cold 11-point fourth quarter like they did last game. All right, next one up, we have Spurs and Timberwolves. This one opened up minus 3.5 for San Antonio. Now it looks like 4.5 or 5. Total hasn't really moved too much. Nobody on the injury report for San Antonio. For Minnesota, I see Desumu and Ant both questionable. Spurs look like the Spurs we've been seeing for a while. They got close to a 40-point win in that game to bounce back. Now go back to Minnesota tied 1-1. Pretty important game here. You have Desumu and Ant questionable. I mean, I do think you get a really good effort. I don't think you got the best effort from Minnesota in that last game. Do think you get a really good effort, but will it be good enough now that the Spurs are clicking? That's kind of how I'm feeling. And also, real quick, Vino, I got there with the over last game, some way, somehow. And I remember the how do I say their sideline reporter. She was saying she talked to both coaches and they were saying like they wanted to play fast or something like that. I don't know. Over. Well, I don't know. What are you thinking here, Vino?
Well, I know that the Spurs scored 109 points in the last 3 quarters of that game. First quarter was absolutely atrocious from an offensive standpoint for both sides. Missed a ton of shots. I know. Talking with you yesterday, you even pointed out that a lot of those were layups. Like they weren't even making layups in the first quarter. But San Antonio it busted loose with 109 points in the final 3 quarters. I think I agree with you that you're going to get Minnesota's best effort, and their best effort can be really, really good. But I think it's really, really good defensively more than it is offensively. Like if Minnesota's going to be good tonight, it's going to be get down, get dirty, get physical, and try and slow San Antonio down a little bit. I think they can do it. But that being said, I think San Antonio's defense is pretty good against a limited Minnesota offense at this point in time. We don't know. I'd assume Anthony Edwards is going to play, and Ayu Dosunmu is going to play. How much or how effective they can be is still in question. Neither one looks right yet um, offensively. So Minnesota's team total here is 106.5. I almost feel like playing the Minnesota team total under. Less offensive weaponry, really good San Antonio defense. I think it's ranked number 2 in the playoffs so far. And maybe we get a lower scoring game, even if they try to run. Um, it's interesting because in these series, adjustments are made. And if either coach notices that the other team wants to push pace, I would expect transition defense to be a little bit better or more of an emphasis. So I think I lean more towards Minnesota giving a really good effort here. Probably why I don't want to play the side either way, because San Antonio is the better team. So I'm a little scared to take points. But I think Minnesota, even if they win the game, they do it with less than 107 points. So for me, probably under 106.5 on the T Wolves side.
Good stuff. That'll wrap up NBA. We can talk a little bit of W. We do have 3 games over there for today. Um, we will start with the Mystics and then one of the new teams here, Toronto Tempo, if I'm not mistaken here, is the name they have. -1.5 is the opener for Toronto. Looks like a pick 'em. We'll call it a pick 'em pretty much everywhere. Total, right around the opener of 159.5. Onyenwere is out. McMahon is out for Washington. For Toronto, Izzy Harrison, she's out. Oh man, just taking a look at these rosters and who's going to be available. I mean, kind of a lot of returners, or at least some people. Sonia, Kiki, Shakira, they were all there last year. They're going to be used to playing with each other. You do have some rookies too. I mean, I'm not sure if this is going to be the starting lineup, but it says Betts and Austin are going to start. Toronto looks like they got a little bit more vets on that side. You got Marina Mabry, Sykes over there. Um, those are 2 people I really trust quite a bit. Um, I want to say I trust them more than really anybody in the clutch I trust on Washington. I do like, I do like a couple people's game on Washington, but Toronto first game at home. Oh man. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm just gonna double check here because like I said, it's a new coach, new team, new coach, but it's Sandy Rondello, right? Coaching the tempo.
It is. Yep.
She's a good coach. Home opener. I would think that Toronto could come out and play a good first game in front of their fans behind Mabry and Sykes. What are you thinking here, Vino, between Washington and Toronto?
Well, the first thing I had to do was check and see, if there were going to be any change in philosophies here. I mean, at Toronto, you could almost guarantee they'll play the way that the Liberty played. Sandy Brondello's coaching style. Of course, you've tried to fit the pieces and make some changes there, but all reports it's kind of a space and pace, up tempo offense, the way the Liberty played, and they've got the guards to do so. The other side, Sidney Johnson has come up with a offensive philosophy that's kind of like old Golden State, 8-second rule. Let's get a clean shot within the first 8 seconds of the shot clock, and we'll use threes, we'll use whatever. In this game, however, Skee, like you mentioned, the Toronto backcourt, where I do think they have an edge, but man, the front court is a complete mismatch. Once Shakira Austin was listed as available for tonight's game, because I think she was going through reconditioning, had played overseas. She was questionable all week long, but this morning they took her off the injury report. And then I looked at the size differential between these 2 teams with all the front court that Toronto has. They're little compared to Washington. So maybe, the 8-second rule is fine, but your advantage here is in the paint. It's interior, it's rebounding, etc. I kind of think Washington has a fundamental edge and Toronto has the situational edge that you described. Home game, first franchise, first home game, Friday night, going to be frenzied. You got a veteran head coach. I lean towards over the 159.5, thinking that Toronto's backcourt, if they're going to play space and pace, then they can score. And I thought the other side should be able to score as well. So 159.5 looks a little low. If I had to play side, I would play Washington here. I just think that interior edge is too large at this point in time for Toronto to overcome, unless they really make shots tonight.
Yeah, that is a good point about them, probably having a lot of success in the paint. unless maybe Toronto plays some kind of zone and makes them have to beat them from the outside. Because if they do that, it's not a whole lot of shooting I'm seeing for Washington. Um, a couple of things from Pays and Plays podcast right here. He says, reminds us that it is a revenge game for Brittany Sykes. That is absolutely true. I want to say I don't know, she felt a kind of way because, you know, they're kind of just handing the keys to the young kids. And well, last year it was some kind of thing. Did she not make an all-star team or she didn't? I forget exactly what it was, but it was a lot of things for Sykes to be unhappy about. So playing her old team could be a chance to look at maybe her points or something like that even. And then I agree with this. I'm just reading the expected lineup from the site I'm using here. They say Betts in Austin, but I would agree that you should probably start someone else. It'd probably be Michaela if she was not hurt. So if I think I can agree with you. I could agree with you on an over. I would just worry about if Toronto plays some kind of zone. Zone is it could disrupt some things for a team trying to feast inside. All right,
And let's
next
just say
game.
real quick here, Ski, just because I didn't mention it, but we should at least in some of these cases where there's been so much personnel overhaul and Toronto being an expansion franchise. Um, I had a thought that maybe defensive breakdowns and assignments aren't really cohesive yet for these teams early that have gone through a lot of personnel overhaul and teams that are brand new learning to play defense. Not that zone is hard to play, it's really not. Everybody's assigned to an area, just stick to it. Tough to rebound out of a zone, too, against a bigger team.
All right. We're gonna go to Connecticut and New York. Opened up minus 17 for New York. Wow. Down all the way to 10. Total up in 161 and a half. That hasn't moved as much. I'm seeing it as low as 159. A lot of injuries here. For Connecticut, looks like Shea Petty's out, Layla's out, Leah Edwards is out, and Gloma's out. For New York, I mean, they got a lot of people out here. Satu, Sabrina, Bebic, Rebecca Allen, Carrera, Fado. I don't know that one. But I see a lot of shooters out for this Liberty team. Not that they don't have others. I mean, it's clearly they have, you know, Johannes, Stewie, Jonquil. They got other people, but you're missing a lot tonight. It almost feels like this is not the most important game, or just they might not care so much about this game. And I remember last year the Liberty started off very very cold. Um, for a good portion of the beginning of the year, the Sun. I really do worry about. Like I really wish Layla was there. I worry about the guard play. That's what I worry about most. But I don't know. If I'm playing it, I think the market is clearly moving in the right direction for the Sun. It's just a matter of if you can get there now at the 10. How do you feel about it, Vino?
Yeah, off air at the end of the show the other day, we talked a shade about this game. I had mentioned to you that I thought the total was too high at 161 at the time. And I played it back then a couple days ago under. Just you pretty much said it all for me. The injury list is just too extensive for me to believe that there's going to be a lot of shot making or at least enough. 10 points, trying to do the quick math in my head. 82.72 is enough. 83.73, 84.74 isn't enough. 85.75 in this game just seems too much to me. With everybody who's out in this particular contest, it generally is a rivalry too because of the proximity between these two teams. And once upon a time, Connecticut was really good. But for me, Ski, I'm with you. I agree. Oh, well, you said side, so I'm going to agree with the market move toward the under in this game. Something like I say, I don't say under an awful lot, but I think this game probably stays underneath the 159 and a half.
Slick Vic, go rewind. We've already talked about NBA playoffs. If you don't want to hear WNBA, then go rewind. It's clear. We already talked about it. You're late. We've been on here for 20 minutes already. We're going to talk about NBA every day. We're going to talk about WNBA all day. There's money everywhere. Just because there's two NBA playoff games doesn't mean there's not money elsewhere. All right. Next game up, we're gonna go to Valkyries and Storm. Opened up -4.5 for Golden State, and looks like 5.5 right now. Total open 154.5, and it looks like 156 right now. Izzy, Samuelson, Bam, all out for Seattle. This Golden State team, they were the expansion team last year. They're clearly the more cohesive team. It looks like the Storm team is like so much movement um, between the guards. Heidemann, Lexi Brown. I mean, these are all people coming off the bench for other teams last year. Now they're going to be starting. I mean, I'm not expecting a lot of good things from the Seattle team. Golden State last year, night and day, home and road. Really good at home, not the great, not so good on the road. If Golden State was at home here, I'd already have them in my pocket. The road splits, how they played last year scares me, but clearly they're the more cohesive team, and it's very hard for me to see Seattle winning. And on top of that, you know, these teams, their style of play, it's usually slow, more defensive. Like the 5 games these teams have played, none of them have reached this number. Why would it reach that number tonight? I don't know. I would think Valkyries are under. What do you think?
Yeah, we remember last year. You're jogging my memory now with Golden State. They used to just throw up threes, and they couldn't make threes, but they would just hoist them up there anyway, Golden State. But there was never a lack of effort from the Golden State team. Always got the effort out of them. I'd need to see, I talked a little earlier about personnel overhaul, new coaches. We have to mention Noel Quinn's not there anymore. So this is a brand new deal for Seattle. New players, new coach, new system, all that stuff. If you're going to get Seattle, I would imagine you get them early. And that's just assuming that they're going to be good later. They may not be good at all this year. But I think early on, especially, it's going to be more of a learning process, an evaluation process, get our rotations right, all that other stuff. And Golden State just seems to be 2 steps ahead of that. So I think I would look Golden State's way. You made a great point about their home road dichotomy. They weren't good on the road last year, but they were really tough at home. So being on the road here, maybe, you could throw that in the liability column if you're weighing options of whether to play or not play. I can't get to Seattle here yet, Skee. I don't know what they're going to look like. Don't really know. It's another team that when I read about them, everybody says they're going to play fast, right? That's the new thing nowadays. Everybody's going to play fast. Well, I need to see what fast looks like out of Seattle before I get involved. If I had to play, I'd play Golden State.
Well, some of these people lie, Rob. We had Jalen Brown can
Yeah.
tell it. Feels like they're in the crack me. They come out and play the slowest pace in the league all season.
Oh man, we know there are liars out there, Skee. You're right. Oh man, tricking
All
us.
right, that'll be it for today. So clearly, it's the first day of WNBA. A lot of movement, not a whole lot of stats or anything or anything to go off of. But you know, we talk about them the best we can for this first day. Clearly, it'll change as the season gets a little bit deeper. So on that note, before we move over to best bets, let's see what we're gonna do here. Let's go with. I'm pretty sure this is still good. So let's rock with the buy 3 get 3 free. Comes out to 6 days for just $69, and gives you a chance. You could choose either Vino or myself. We do still have this one. I mean, maybe there should be one for WNBA, huh? I guess this one you have to choose. Or no, this one you don't have to choose. You'll get NBA and WNBA, but you have to choose between Vino and myself. If you're like Slick Rick and you say, it's NBA playoffs right now. Why are we talking about this WNBA? You just want to rock with double the NBA core vision. You can get 3 days of NBA plays from both Rob Vino and myself for $59. So a couple different ways to get involved here. And Vino, my bad. Messing up on the production here. Vino, I'm going to pass it to you. Um, Maybe if you want to remind everybody where we're at for the playoffs, if you have anything else you would like to promote, feel free. And if you have a best bet for the show, we'd love to hear it. If you don't, it's all good.
Yeah, a couple things really quick. One more time. I do believe, guys, that if any of you were interested in combo package rather than playing either Skee or myself's stuff. If you want to play both combined, with where WNBA is concerned, the Detroit office, I'm sure, would be accommodating in that regard. You just have to ask. We don't have anything current right now, so we can't advertise it for you, but I'm sure you could get it. 49-27 is the record for the NBA playoffs since April 18, the day they started. 49 up, 27 down. That's 64.5%. Really, really good. Despite my miserable 5% play last night, we got ourselves in a pretty good spot. As for best bet here tonight, I'm going to leave you with the Timberwolves under. It's a game I played under 106.5 team total. I think Minnesota will be gritty and defensive minded. And you said something that made me think, Skee. Last game, you had it bigger than I did, but I also had the total in the game. And I thought we were never going to get there. And somehow, San Antonio just broke loose. I don't see Minnesota allowing that type of shooting again in this game. I think this one's probably more of a grind back and forth, and San Antonio's defense keeps Minnesota pinned down here. So Timberwolves team total under 106.5.
Good stuff from Vino. And for myself, I was I was I'm teetering on some of these WNBA plays today, so I'm waiting to push the button. And if you know me, I don't like giving plays when I didn't push the button. So this will probably be one of the last days that I just really don't give a best bet because I only have one NBA play and I haven't made any other decisions. But after watching these teams play, once or twice over the weekend and come back next week, I'm sure I have a lot, stronger opinions about what I want to do. So, Vino, I do appreciate you taking the time to cap these games with me. It was my process. I'm sure we help everybody else out there as well. Chat, we appreciate y'all tapping in and everything you guys, bring to the show. Best of luck over the weekend on all your action, and we will catch you guys all on Monday.